man. Hey folks, and welcome to a little bit of a special episode today. If you follow the channel, you'll know that I'm a big fan of touring Thailand by motorcycle. It's just something I really enjoy. And I must say the country of Thailand really kind of lends itself to that with the exceptional weather, except for maybe right now. We are going through our rainy couple months now, but normally it looks like what you see here today. This is from my last trip in Isan. Beautiful weather, great scenery, sights, meeting the people, the smells, everything you experience out on the road. I just adore. And more than all that, it's just a great place to be out on the road. There's motorcycle repair shops in every town. You need a chain lubed, you need a tire fixed, no problem. It's ubiquitous. But one thing I've never really considered too much is cost. That is, until now.
So I follow many different moto bloggers. Sometimes the various social media sites will recommend new moto vloggers for me to follow. And last week, I ran across a guy, a new blogger, who claims he did a recent trip from Bangkok up to Chiang Mai, but he claims he's done it for only 2,800 baht. So yeah, here's an actual screenshot of the blog I came across in the headline, and there's a conversion down there for the money. Comes out to right around 90 US dollars. Even money notwithstanding, he's done it on a Honda Click 125, which also is a little bit interesting. Very small, basic scooter to do all those kilometers on. Almost I think over 2,400, according to him. And I've mapped out his route. I think it's at least that. So this is, I guess, a very loose interpretation of the route and the whole travels. But you see Bangkok down there at the lower portion of the screen. And Chiang Mai is all the way up top. And then beyond that, all the way up and along the Burmese border. And then back to Chiang Mai, back to Bangkok. That's basically the route he took. And it's a long way on a Honda Click. But $90. When I tour, I would maybe spend that a day almost. So 10 days, 10 nights, gas, food, lodging, $90. That's only $9 a day, according to my math. So I know what you're thinking. How? I guess I was thinking the same thing. I'm a little bit of an optimist. I thought, I guess it's possible, but maybe not necessarily so. I just have to find out more about it. I have to find out kind of the whole nexus of the thing. So I thought, well, this guy's only up in Bangkok. It's an hour and a half from here. So what if I go up and meet him, and then I can face to face put all this information together and see what's really doing. I'm gonna go up there. I'm gonna go up there and meet the guy. I'll take you with me. Let's go.
So I had plenty of time to think about all this on the ride up there, and I got to thinking, I really don't know this guy. I mean, I've seen his blogs, and it seems like we have a lot in common, but it seems like we like to travel, we like photography, but I really don't know him, so I'm a little bit anxious about meeting him, and at the same time, I couldn't help but feeling, even slightly, that, hey, maybe I'm imposing, you know, maybe this guy doesn't need a visit from me, you know, he just got back from a long trip, but at any rate, a lot of thoughts, but the moment we got there and met at the rendezvous point, it all seemed to come together. So we agreed to meet at a small cafe not far from the rendezvous point so we could get to know each other and have a bite. So fortunately, they had this great big, thick, nice wooden table here that all of us could sit around, and they handed out the menus, and they had a full menu despite the fact that this was just kind of a cafe, more specializing in drinks. They had a full food menu. But to be honest, I wasn't too concerned about the food. I just wanted something to eat. What I was more concerned about is getting down to business here and finding out how to tour for 10 days for as little as $90 and see what that's all about and how it works.
So we got all ordered. I think we got ordered. I think we got everything we're gonna get. We'll see how that goes. Bon. I gotta find out how he did a 10-day trip for 2,800 baht. Song Fan Baht Oi na. Zip one. The first question I have has got to be the lodging. I think that would be the most expensive part.
So yeah, despite my zeal to jump right into the most expensive part, I think it's important we start at the beginning. So meet Bon, or as his friends call him, Football or Bolly. And he is a moto-taxi driver in Bangkok. Uses his Honda Click to do a moto-taxi job. And that's the same Honda Click that he took on his adventure. So we're going to start at the beginning. He left Bangkok 10:30 at night. That's a little odd, but think about it. No traffic, or less traffic, let's put it that way. And if you're all fresh, you don't need to sleep that night. You just drive right through the night. That's pretty much what he did. So he did tell me at one point he stopped on the side of the road, or I believe at a temple or something, and took about an hour's nap. But that still had him arrive to Chiang Mai about 2:30 the following afternoon. And that's where he would check into a hostel, 120 baht for the night. Now, he said there was 3 people in the room, but they had 2 bathrooms, a man and a woman's, male-female bathroom. And, you kind of share a room, but 120 baht a night, that right there is one of the secrets to his cheap traveling. But that is a long haul, 16 hours straight on the road. He did stop for the 1 hour. So that's to get all the way up to Chiang Mai. Now, the next question I had naturally has got to be about the gas.
1 baht for 2 kilometers.
Okay, well, 1 baht for 2 kilometers.
Yeah.
1 baht of gas for 2 kilometers.
So indulge me for 1 minute here. We've got the 95 octane gasohol. This is the product he used, $21.55 a liter. Good price on that. A side note, though, real quick, if you run a big bike, you should really consider the non-gasohol, the gasoline 95 octane. You see that's quite a bit more. But anyway, I kind of want to figure this out.
So that's a really good price for gas, $21.55 for a liter. But I'm thinking we can figure out the miles per gallon. We knew we went 2,400 kilometers. And he said it was 2 kilometers for 1 baht of gas. So that means he spent 1,200 baht for gas. We divide that by the 21.55, which is what he paid per liter. It's 55.68 liters. And then divide that by the total distance. So it was 2,400 kilometers divided by 55.68 liters. That's 43, we'll just call it 43.1 kilometers per liter. So if then we take the 43.1 kilometers per liter and convert that to a miles per gallon, you get 101 miles per gallon. Is that possible on a Honda Click? I don't know. I don't have one. But that's the only part about this I have a little bit of question. Seems like it might be a little high.
So yeah, let me know if you think I figured that out right. I'm no mathematician, but that's just the calculations I made. But I did confirm he traveled alone, but he did have luggage. He had some luggage in a top box and all that. And he only would get about 80 baht worth of gas at a time.
70 or 80.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So wow.
Full fill is 5 liters.
5 liters? How many?
On motorcycle.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, he said a full fill up was 5 liters. A full fill up on my bike's 20 liters, so it's 4 times as much. Yeah, I think I've got a little bit more of a gas hog than he does. So touring by scooter, definitely more economical. That was kind of, the point of that was kind of lost on me.
That's not too bad. So then กินอะไรกินทุกวัน100 บาท
ก็กินวันละ2
So in terms of food, he said he ate 2 meals per day. And I think he was a little bit light on the food because some things happened along the way that were more than he thought, and it kind of came out of his food budget.
11แต่ไม่กินเบียร์เหรอไม่กินแล้ว
ไม่กิน
Done.
And of course, he confirmed there, as you probably suspected by now, there was no budget for any beer or whiskey. He barely had a budget for food after the little mishaps and things, but I also asked him how fast he would travel. What was his average speed?
That's it 60 or 70 kilometers per hour
ก็ช้าเหรอ
60 to 70 kilometers an hour. That's exactly what I've told you guys, and I recommend it if you're on a scooter like a 125 something. 60, 70, that's it. That's where you need to be. That's the safe operating speed. It's you can't, yes, it'll go 100 kilometers an hour, but that's not touring, that's not cruising. So you just have to be in that right frame of mind. It's a small bike, but he did it.
So by the time the food started arriving, I basically had all the answers to the questions I had. They were all pretty well explained. Bottom line is he spent about 40% of his budget on gas. Most of the rest on lodging, very little left for food. But once I had the answers to the questions and we started eating, the conversation kind of shifted more about his trip. And even though I came here to find out about the budget and how cheap you could travel and all that kind of stuff, I think what I got out of this is a lot more, a very compelling story. You see, there's his tent. He would camp. He was just chock full of stories, random acts of kindness he experienced on the road, terrible situations he got into, like the time his GPS led him down a dirty, muddy, rocky trail because it was the quickest way. He had no idea where he was. A storm was closing in, and a random stranger directed him back to a paved road and back to safety. Unexpected occurrences that happened. He'd get to a campground. They wanted 150 baht to pitch a tent. That wasn't in his budget. He went to a temple and they let him pitch his tent at the temple. Just things like that. One person fed him one night fried chicken. He really was full of experiences, but I think his real passion was waking up in the morning and going out in these mountain peaks and looking for the fog, the low-lying clouds, I guess you call it. He loved to take the pictures of these kind of misty mountaintops, and that's kind of his thing. And these are all his pictures you're looking at here. He was gracious enough to let me use them for the presentation here, and he's quite the photographer. He's got some very interesting pictures here. I think they're all beautiful. You'll notice he's wearing an orange moto-taxi vest. I told you he's a moto-taxi driver, but I had to ask, you're on vacation, why are you still wearing the moto-taxi vest? Well, that's his thing. That's kind of his trademark. And he wears it, and that's his identity. So who am I to argue with that? Sounds good to me. I was just curious. But even though he's only 26 years old, he realizes the memories that he made during this trip will last his lifetime. So in addition to the trip, we also talked about some more general information, and it was really refreshing getting somebody else's perspective on a couple things that I never really knew about.
It was also interesting. I see a lot of moto-taxi guys with Honda Waves, and that's one of your cheaper bikes, but they're rock solid. I always thought maybe that was the way to go for taxis. But in Bangkok, I do see more automatics, and he told me in Bangkok it's a must. You really need the automatic in Bangkok traffic for the moto-taxi. That's why I see so many of them. I see DCXs, I see Aeroxes, X-Maxes, I see all sorts. Not as many Honda Waves, but like where I live in Bang Sen or in Pattaya, I see a lot of guys using the Honda Wave. So it kind of makes sense.
อร่อยมาก
อร่อยไหม Delicious. And that's my driver, Pattaya Taxi, Pattaya Airport Taxi, or Airport Taxi Pattaya. เรียกไก่อร่อย
ไก่อร่อย
So I just found out how many miles he's got on his Honda Click. Well, kilometers. We do kilometers here.
ไปใต้เมื่อไหร่ไปใครก็ไป
So take a guess.
แต่คนละคัน
Take a guess. Put it in the comments. I'll give you a hint.
ฮะ
He can't go on a trip right now because it needs to be overhauled.
สภาพรถต้องมาก่อน
So think about that. Now keep in mind he's a moto-taxi. He's a moto-taxi driver. So think how many kilometers on a Honda Click and he needs the motor overhauled. And I'll tell you a little bit later.
So we had a really great meal, and I really enjoyed meeting Mr. Bond. Hearing his tales of the road and his inspiring wisdom on how to travel cheap was tremendous. But I told him about my Isan trip too, but I think my stories paled in comparison to his adventure. But it became that time of the day to say our goodbyes and bid farewell.
ขับรถดีนะครับผมไปเที่ยวขับรถดี I wish you good luck โชคดีนะครับผมดีมากโอเคครับ thank you
So yeah, hey, what do you know? I think it stopped raining for a second, maybe just a second. But anyway, we said our goodbyes and we hustled back in the cab and went home. It's a pretty memorable day. So Mr. Bond told me that one of his eventual goals is to work 20 days a month and travel the other 10 days out of the month. I think that's pretty reasonable. That'd be a pretty good goal. Work 20, travel 10. He's young enough to do it. No wife, no kids. I said, yeah, man, go for it. So who knows? Maybe someday we'll take a trip together. That would be pretty cool. I know he certainly has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He could certainly teach me a thing or two probably out on the road. So we'll see how that goes. Now, he also had told me that he has 155,000 kilometers on his Honda Click. And so that's just roughly 100,000 miles, just under 100,000 miles. So that's, I don't know, I think that's a pretty good distance to go between engine overhauls on something small like a Honda Click. But anyway, that's how you do it cheap. That's how he did it cheap. Hostels, camping, 30 baht bags of street food twice a day, and using a scooter to save half on gas over a big bike. So I don't think it's for me, but either way, I'm going to go ahead and leave this one off here. And as usual, I'll thank you for watching. And until next time, bye for now.